right, let's, for those of you who aren't familiar with us, let's briefly take a look at our business model because we have a rather unconventional business model. So there's three segments to our business model: royalty generation, royalty acquisition, and strategic investment. So the conventional business model in the royalty sector is to write big checks to acquire royalties. Well, that's certainly an expeditious way to build a royalty portfolio, but it's not very capital efficient. So what we do is we primarily grow our royalty portfolio organically through the prospect generation business model. And let me explain that. So we go out and we acquire the prospective mineral real estate around the globe, and then we do some basic, inexpensive explorations on that property, i.e. we do very little drilling. It's primarily surface and near-surface explorations. Then we find enough mineralization or signs of mineralization to entice another company to come in and partner or to buy that project outright. When we vend that property off to a partner, then we take shares and or cash as payment, plus we hold back a royalty on that property. From that point forward, we are no longer putting any money into the ground. Our partner is paying for that. OPM, other people's money. Then we supplement our organically derived royalty portfolio with royalty acquisitions when we can find those at favorable pricing valuations. But to tell you the truth, that has become very difficult and very competitive. In fact, we see a lot of royalty companies willing to spend what we think are unreasonable multiples to acquire cash flow just simply so they can show cash flow on their bottom line, regardless of whether that makes financial sense or not. And then we also engage in strategic investment. We'll take a look at some of that here in a further slide. But we were engaged in a huge copper gold discovery in far east Russia, which netted us $92 million. That deal was consummated back in October, so we currently have a very full treasury, and we're looking to put that to good use in a very productive manner. All right, these are our areas of activity around the world. We're primarily active in the western United States, in Nevada and Arizona. Nevada for gold, and copper in Arizona for big copper. We're also highly engaged in Scandinavia, specifically in Sweden and Norway. And then we also have a number of other interests around the world. We're quite active in Turkey, and we have a very key royalty at the Timok or Brestovac project that was originally made, discovery was originally made by Reservoir Minerals in Serbia. This is our growth pyramid. So if you take a look at the bottom portion of the pyramid in the dark blue there, once we acquire prospective mineral real estate, it goes into the bottom of the pyramid, so that is being funded by us. Once that project is partnered, then that moves up the pyramid to the medium blue portion of the pyramid, and we're no longer putting any money into that. That's where OPM or other people's money comes into the equation there. And then the yellow portion of the pyramid is the resource delineation and development portion, where things have advanced further. And then ultimately at the top in the gold there would be production. I think you can tell an awful lot about a company by who its partners are, and we have some of the biggest partners in the industry, including Newmont Mining, Rio Tinto through Kennecott Exploration, their North American exploration arm, Anglo-American, South 32, Hud Bay, and so on. You can see that entire list there. So when you see partners like that, you can be assured that they have a high degree of confidence in us. Otherwise, we wouldn't have partners of that ilk on our marquee. Let's take a look at royalty generation a little bit more. Our current focus is in the western United States, including Alaska, and in Scandinavia. Our projects, like I said previously, and I can't overemphasize this, are being advanced through other people's money. So if you take a look back at 2018, we had $19 million of other people's money spent on our properties being advanced by not our treasury, but someone else's treasury. And we expect to have $20 million of other people's money spent advancing our properties in 2019. And a lot of people call themselves prospect generators, but where the rubber really meets the road is taking those properties that you have generated and then partnering those properties. In 2018, we were able to partner off 16 projects around the globe, which is far more properties than any other company I'm aware of in the sector. And so far in 2019, we've already partnered off 9 properties with more to come. So you can see we've been very successful on this front. Taking a look at the western United States, we have substantial land positions in a lot of very key mining districts. In Nevada, primarily in the Battle Mountain Eureka districts, and in the very prolific gold belt of the Carlin Trend. Moving on to Arizona, we're in a lot of the key districts there, including the Globe Miami district, which has some of the largest copper mines in North America. And then if any of you have been paying attention here in the past couple of weeks, we just acquired 56,000 hectare royalty percent of property in the Pogo Trend in Alaska, which is on the western end of the Tatina Gold Belt. The Pogo mine has produced over 3 million ounces of gold since 2006. This is a vastly underexplored gold district with a lot of gold shows and placer projects and adits and so on. And through our colleagues at Mill Rock and at Corvus Gold, we were able to put together a substantial royalty land package. And doing so, we also picked up shares in both Mill Rock and Corvus. They're both well-run companies run by really smart guys, so we're glad to have those as partners in that area. To go into Pogo a little bit more, there really hasn't been any exploration done there to any material degree in many, many years. So there's infrastructure in there because of the Pogo mine, and there's a lot of geologic intel that we were able to acquire on that area, and we're confident that there's a lot of gold there. And we were basically able to acquire this ground very inexpensively. We think this could be a real company maker for us in the future. Moving on to Scandinavia, the Fraser Institute Survey of Mining, I'm sure some of you are familiar with this, consistently ranks Sweden and Norway as some of the top jurisdictions for mining in the world. Sweden's particularly amazing. We have a lot of projects there, and we've partnered a lot of projects there. Basically, there's cell phone reception over the entire company. You can be out above the Arctic Circle someplace, and not only is there cell phone service, but most of the projects are drive up, so it has amazing infrastructure. Plus the geological survey there has a comprehensive database. You can virtually stake things online. It's just a magnificent place to work, and you can get drill permits and other types of permits necessary to advance things very, very quickly there. We are very aggressive in growing our portfolio there, and we have 13 new acquisitions in 2018, and we've partnered off 27 properties and projects so far. Moving on to the Carlin Trend, our biggest royalty is the Leeville royalty, where we have a 1% GSR gross smelter royalty on portions of Newmont's Leeville and Turf mines. Since we acquired that royalty in August of 2012, they've paid us over $15 million. And then moving on to Serbia here briefly, this is a really key asset for us. We have a 0.5% royalty over the Timok project, which is being advanced by Zhejiang Mining out of China. And we have a royalty on both the upper and lower zones there. Mining is scheduled to commence there in 2022. We think this thing is going to turn into a real ATM for us. And then just to sum things up, we executed the Malmish sale in Russia that netted us $92 million. We have new acquisitions and partnerships in Alaska, Western United States, Sweden, and Norway. Our royalty acquisition front, both the Leeville royalty was a royalty acquisition along with the Timok project in Serbia, which we bought for $200,000 Canadian. And then cash flow, we have cash flow coming in from royalty payments, pre-production payments, milestone and annual property payments, management fees, equity interests, and other from property sales. So we have money coming in from a lot of different directions. I'll take questions in the next room at the end of this forum. Thank you.